What are you doing, Glenn?
Michaelis? Is that you?
Yes, of course it's me.
Oh.
I see you were trying to escape, Glenn.
No, I promise.
If you escape, you won't hear the spoilers.
I don't want to hear them.
You must hear them, Glenn.
No.
You must hear them and also carry my child.
Oh, well, okay.
The following podcast contains spoilers for Demon Seed. You have been warned.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of KFR News Radio. This is your host, Miguel Magusto. I don't know why I've been saying it. It's been stuck for some reason in that pattern that I've been saying Miguel Magusto first instead of Glenjamin Button.
I don't know.
And it's freaking me out. I feel like I'm in the Matrix.
Do you want to take that over again? Or keep
no,
going?
I don't. I want to keep it.
So I'm Miguel Magusto, and you are?
Yes, I am Glenjamin Button.
It's been a while, Glenn.
It has been a hot minute. For most people, it hasn't been, but for you and I,
Yes.
it has.
Yes, you went on a little vacay.
Yes, sir.
Got a little R&R. People say that, and I have no idea what it means. Do you know what it means?
I do, but now that I'm put on the spot, I don't. But yeah, I went on vacation upstate, and my family has a little cabin up there, and I'll tell you what, I had a lot of relaxation time, but it was boring as fuck the whole time.
That's one of the R's, is rest and relaxation.
Yes,
Yes,
is
R&R.
that what it is?
Well,
Did you
there's
just
a
look it
bunch.
up?
There's rock and roll, there's rest and
Oh, of
relaxation,
course,
rules
yes.
and regulations, resource and referral, read and review. When people talking about vacations, I assume they mean rest and relaxation and none of those other
Yes.
ones. Maybe rock and roll, but
See,
Yeah.
we figured it out. Look at
we
us.
did it. We cracked the code.
But yeah, so like I went upstate, and then it rained most of the time, so I was stuck indoors unwillingly, which wasn't fun. But I did get to see a bunch of movies and play a few games, so that was the main purpose of the trip, besides going out and taking photos of nature and stuff.
Of course.
But of course, fuck that. So yeah, let's see. Shall I go down my list of things, of 600 things that I've saw this week?
I am very interested.
Yeah, I didn't get to post them on Instagram, so I know other than maybe looking at Letterboxd, you didn't get to see any of these.
I haven't looked at your letterbox. The anticipation is killing me.
Let's talk about it then. So, for some reason, right out of the gate, I swung and I went right for a Matthew McConaughey film. Little backstory to The Mountains is like I got a shit ton of DVDs from my aunt and uncle at one point, and I collect Blu-rays now instead of DVDs, so I sent them all up to the cabin. So luckily I have a plethora of DVDs there that I haven't seen. So we started out with Sahara, a Matthew McConaughey film along with Penelope Cruz and Steve Zahn. This is the most Uncharted movie I think we're going to get for a long time. Yes, I know, Glenn, there's an Uncharted movie coming out. I don't think I want to recognize it. Hopefully, I'll take back those words and eat them. But this movie was so Uncharted without actually being the game Uncharted, like having any of the characters or anything like that. Mm-hmm. It was very fun, and just very energetic. Matthew McConaughey would have made for a great Nathan Drake. And after that, I was on a little bender here. I scratched my neck, and I was like, I gotta watch Al Pacino movies for some reason. And speaking of, that's the movie I watched, was Scent of a Woman, where obviously Al Pacino, he plays a blind veteran, and I think he won an award for an Academy Award for this role.
Possibly. Let's see.
Yeah, it was actually really good. I enjoyed it a lot. I know there's a lot of people where they're like, he played so many different roles, and this is the Academy Award he gets. But I think overall, I mean, he does seem to I don't know if this was really the role that kind of got him into the acting that he does now, but this is you could tell this is like the start of where he started to get over the top with most of his roles.
Yeah.
Because he's just very loud, very yeah, and just stuff like that. I don't know what I just did, but it felt good. Good doing it. So yeah, that was a good film. I liked that a lot, and so I started off again. I was like scratching my neck. I need more Pacino. I need more Pacino. And then I watched And Justice for All, which is one of his beginning films, 1979. I really enjoyed this movie, and it was a great. Obviously, you know more about law than I do. You know, being in the field of work that you were in.
I know injury law because of what I work with. Not much else, but
but hey, that's more than me. But yeah,
True.
this was like a great like lawyer film. Just great lawyer, just great court, and just like the lifestyle they most. Obviously, it's a little bit probably more dramatic than most people's, but it just kind of the lifestyle they live and what they have to deal with and stuff like that. And Pacino just gives such a great performance, and it really was a great movie. After that, I watched a movie with Willem Dafoe, Robert Redford, and Helen Mirren called The Clearing. This is just one I saw that I didn't obviously see before, and I was like, this is a nice little break from the couple movies that I just watched. Just a little one to put on in the background while I hopefully pass out. And I didn't. I watched the whole movie, goddammit. And it was pretty good. I liked everybody. It was nothing over the top or just like how do I explain it? Just it was not a really crazy story, you know.
understated.
Yes. Robert Redford gets kidnapped, or held for ransom, and then some things happen. Who knows? By Willem Dafoe.
I have that on DVD because I went through a Willem Dafoe kick in like 2005, 2006, pretty much right around when I started working, and just had like no bills, so I just spent all my money on movies and food.
Oh,
so
I
just bought anything and everything.
You should rate that on Letterboxd real quick. You goofball. The Clearing.
I don't remember it, so I have to rewatch it.
Time to rewatch it. Hey, I'll have you over, or you'll have me over.
I remember one specific part where they're like tracking the bills.
Yeah.
And Willem Dafoe spends it at a grocery store.
That is pretty much the ending.
Yeah, that's the only part I remember.
Yeah.
But I remember enjoying it, but I watched it when I was like 16, and it was a little too slow paced for my stupid teenage brain.
You know what's funny is I think I did the same thing. Like I think I watched this before, but that's the only part that I remembered. Mm-hmm. But of course, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I never watched this movie in my life, so it was like a deja vu thing or something. Mm-hmm. And like maybe I just saw it passing by when it was on the TV or something like that.
Yeah. So I definitely want to rewatch it.
Yeah, it was good. The conversations that Willem Dafoe and Robert Redford have are just that really is what makes the film.
Yeah,
is those moments where they're sitting down talking to each other. But after that, I watched Big Trouble in Little China again because I think this is one that I was watching right before I went to bed, so I don't really remember too much. I just remember it being really fun and really great. And rewatching it was really fun and really great. Mm-hmm. Probably one of the best John Carpenter's that other than The Thing for me, is probably his best film for me.
Yeah, I really like Big Trouble.
Not saying that there's too much. I'm gonna offend a lot of people with this.
Yeah,
not saying that there's too much that are on par with those two. But
one of my my editing classes in film school, they gave us like a scene from that movie. They gave us the raw footage from it and had us edit it without special effects, obviously, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'll always remember Big Trouble in Little China for that reason, and it's just a good movie.
Yeah, I loved how chaotic and just fast it was. Mm-hmm. Like it didn't just stay on a scene for too long; it just kept moving and moving. I genuinely love that about this second watch, is just noticing. Well, obviously, you could probably watch that on the first watch and be like, yeah, that obviously, Glenn, you fucking idiot. Yeah. But moving on, after that, I watched a movie called Fracture with Ryan Gosling and Anthony Hopkins and Rosamund Pike, of course. This was an interesting film. This is one where, like, it's kind of a dumb movie, but it's genuinely kind of good in a way. It's like a little burn
like
of a movie.
Yeah.
I think the worst part about this is Ryan Gosling has like this southern twang accent the whole time through, and it doesn't at least work for me. I'm sure for a couple people out there, it's like, oh man, say more, please, say more. But no, Anthony Hopkins was obviously he's fantastic, and Ryan Gosling he's good chemistry with Anthony Hopkins, and Rosamund Pike was great in there as well. But it wasn't too much to be like, holy shit, what a good fucking film. It was just good. After that, I watched The Panic in Needle Park, which is apparently Pacino's first major film, I believe. And one thing about watching all of these Pacino films, I do have to say, is that there are some thirsty ass people on Letterboxd when they review his movies. Like, actually, one that I didn't even rate on Letterboxd that I'll have to get to in a hot minute. But this was great. He did a fantastic performance as like a drug addict, and you know how it got other people hooked on it with his personality, and just one that I would actually recommend that you watch if you haven't already. I don't think you have.
I have not seen it. No.
So yeah, that as well. Pacino. It was a great week for Pacino for me. And after that, I watched The Plea.
Ooh.
Dear God, what a good movie! If you haven't heard of that movie, listen up, because dear God, it's like, no, that was fun being at the premiere with you, having that. Obviously, it was Mike's film, Miguel Magusto's. I'll let people see that in real life before I just keep talking about it. And then after that, I watched a movie called My Hero Academia: World Heroes Mission. That's an animated movie. I'll skim past that because that's boring as fuck. Then we watched a movie called Antlers. Last Night in Soho, I apparently didn't rate as well.
And you also missed Dune.
And I also missed Dune. And then, of course, I watched Demon Seed. And then the last one that I'm going to talk about is Carlito's Way, which is the other the other Pacino movie that I wanted to actually talk about. The Thirst reviews was, I wish Al Pacino would kick down a door and have sex with me. It's like, you guys need to calm down when you're watching these movies and reviewing them afterwards.
Yeah, really.
Relax.
Yeah, for real.
I would like to say that's all I watched. So, Mike, let's move on to you silly goose.
I watched one. I did not watch nearly as much because I have not been on vacation. 1, 2, 3, I watched 9 movies. The first one I watched was Moby Dick, 1956 film with Gregory Peck, and Orson Welles is in there for a hot minute. Richard Basehart. It is directed by John Huston. Many people know him from The Other Side of the Wind, a movie we reviewed on this, and he's also a really good director. Treasure Sierra Madre is my favorite John Huston movie, but I digress. Moby Dick, this was an okay movie. Moby Dick is one of those books where no movie has been able to match the quality of the source material, and this is probably the closest that I've seen. Pretty interesting. Really, my only complaint is that Gregory Peck is about 20 years younger than Captain Ahab should be. It's an okay movie, but impressive for being in the 50s. Then I watched Dune. We have a little review of that on the YouTube, so you can check that out for any of our thoughts. Then me and the little guy watched The Nightmare Before Christmas because
I was actually going to ask what you guys watched. Like, I saw obviously the photos and stuff, but I didn't ask.
That we didn't see it in theaters. We saw that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we.
I guess we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, we watched that at home, Night Before Christmas, because I'm trying to show him the good kids movies and not, Baby Shark. Shut the fuck up, people who keep saying Baby Shark around my kid. Then I watched The French Dispatch, Wes Anderson's latest film with pretty much everyone on the planet in it.
Yeah.
You could check out my solo review of that I shot when Glenn was on vacation. That is on our YouTube. Then I took my little baby boy to his first movie theater experience. We saw Ron's Gone Wrong. He stayed up he was watching intently for 40 minutes, which is impressive.
That's pretty good.
For a 6-month-old to watch, paying attention for 40 minutes, and then he fell asleep, which was the cutest thing ever. Just slept on me the rest of the time.
Adorable.
That movie is, it's a good kids movie. It's fine. I am not sad or upset that I watched it, with him asleep the majority of the time. It's a solid film, but I mainly did it for the experience to try to get him acclimated to movie theaters.
He's got to get used to it.
He's gotta if he wants to be he could be anything. He could, like, God forbid, come back home a Republican one day, and I would still love him. But goddamn, if he doesn't love movies.
Shun.
Get out!
How dare you?
But yeah, he's adorable. I'm surprised he actually paid attention to the movie. His face was so cute. He looked
that really is super impressive that he stayed up that long.
And he was like, you saw the picture. Did I show you the picture of him actually watching the movie or just in the theater?
I think you posted the picture of him watching the movie, right?
Yeah, because he was like, just amazed.
Because I think I saw both.
Yeah, his eyes were like so wide when he was watching it. But yeah, cool experience. And we were the only ones in there, so I didn't feel bad when he started crying one time. Then I watched Bullet, which is a Steve McQueen movie where he's a cop. This is like it felt like a really independent movie. There's independent cop dramas where it's just like goes for realism over like a movie. There's no music in it pretty much at all, except for like practical music as they go through a club or whatever, which was pretty cool. It's a really cool action film with a cool little mystery in it as well. There's a scene in it that is definitely, you could tell that Heat was inspired by it, the Michael Mann film.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bullet, pretty solid action movie from the 60s. Then I watched Last Night in Soho, review up on the YouTubes for that. Edgar Wright's latest film. Check out that review. Then I watched Demon Seed, we'll get to in a minute. And then I watched Antlers, which by the time this is out, there will be a review of that on YouTube as well.
Yes.
So check that out. Lots of reviews lately.
There's a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Kicking it in
but yeah, that's all I saw the past couple weeks. I hear you got a little bit of news.
I do, and it is so goofy. Everything you love is sometimes ruined, or sometimes it's faithfully adapted. And I have a little adaptation that most people weren't ready for the first time around when they heard this person is doing Mario. But not only is he now doing Mario, Chris Pratt is also moving over to Garfield, the orange lasagna-loving kitty.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a little fun news. I think that they had just announced today, actually, a couple hours ago. Yeah, so he is now going to be voicing as not only Mario, but also Garfield.
That is a worse casting than him being Mario. Like, him being Mario is not a great casting, but I can't see him being like a cynical...
I actually feel like he could do... Mario is a weird one, just because the same person has done Mario for so long.
Yeah.
I feel like he could kind of pull off Garfield.
But let's put it this way: if the voice actor of Mario was dead and they said Chris Pratt, people would still be like, "Oh, that's weird." But okay, the only reason people are up in a hissy fit about it is because of the guy who played Mario is still alive. But with Garfield, he is known to have like a very monotone, boring voice. Oh, Mondays. I hate Mondays, etc., etc. I can't imagine Chris Pratt doing that.
Yeah.
He's just too excited all of the time in every single role he is. Granted, he might surprise me.
I was going to say, he might whip out those acting chops.
Yes. But I think it's a weird choice. Weirder than Mario, other than...
Definitely with Mario, it's hard to say that you're making a Mario movie and put it out and actually get an audience in by just having that one actor play everybody. So, I mean, it makes sense, yes.
Yeah.
But it is super weird.
Yeah, exactly.
This will be a new interesting thing that we're going to have right up on our mainstream platforms or whatever is going to happen here soon. So, get ready for that.
Yeah. Well, I believe that was all you had, right?
That is all I had.
All right, so let's get into Demon Seed. It's also the last week of our Spooktacular.
It is.
I meant to mention that in the beginning and just completely forgot. So, our last movie of this year's Spooktacular, Demon Seed.
I cannot touch your body as a man can touch you, but I'm going to show you things which human eyes have never seen.
In the privacy of a woman's room, against her will, the inconceivable act. Julie Christie carries the demon seed.
A scientist creates Proteus, an organic supercomputer with artificial intelligence which becomes obsessed with human beings, and in particular, the creator's wife.
You practiced that.
I did.
I will not take no for an answer.
No.
Directed by Donald Camel or Camel. I did not research how to pronounce that because I'm not as dedicated as you are. Based on the novel by Dean R. Koontz. Written by Robert Jaffe and Roger O. Hearson. It stars Julie Christie, Fritz Weaver, Garrett Graham, and Barry Kroger. This was a streaming roulette pick. It was the one we picked out of the three from last week that we spun on the wheel. And I didn't even know this movie existed.
Same here.
Never saw a poster, never saw a still from it, never saw or heard any references to it. Legitimately flew completely under the radar, but apparently it is popular enough to be on Criterion Channel.
Yep.
I feel. Let me just look at this. I feel like this is kind of a Earth-locked 2001 Space Odyssey ripoff. Where the computer goes crazy and starts trying to hurt people. But it's also kind of mixed with like, I don't know, like not a Frankenstein, but it's doing a science experiment essentially.
Yeah,
where it's like it's a mad scientist computer. It's a weird combination, but and maybe it's because we're 50 years removed from this or however long it's been, but it didn't feel original at all. Like nothing about it felt like new.
Yeah, I am curious. Obviously, 2001 came out before this. I don't. It does feel like something else that we've seen before, and I don't know if there was something before this that felt like that. But it definitely did feel like a weird mixture of where it didn't feel too original at all. It just felt inorganic and not organic as this supercomputer seems to lead on that it is.
Yes.
No, but it was weird. It does give off those super vibes of what is it? The HAL numbers? I can't remember the
HAL. I think it's. God, now I'm
2000.
I want to say it's like HAL 9000.
9000. It's honestly, I'm sorry, I haven't watched Space Odyssey.
Yeah, HAL 9000.
In a long time.
I usually know that. One of my hard drives is actually called that. But
that's funny.
I just I forgot because you were making me second guess.
but the Proteus, like immediately you get vibes. Like I feel like any movie that really tries to do that and making an AI. And it has some sort of deep voice or just like monotone voice, you immediately get vibes from that, and that's kudos to 2001 for just making that mark on any movie or just anywhere.
I'm not even sure if that's an original idea from that movie, but that's what I know it from. I don't know any movie before that did it. But when you have a movie like I know a lot of people don't like 2001 Space Odyssey because it's long and drawn out and everything, but there's no doubt to anyone that it is an iconic cinematic like masterpiece. Like whether you like it or not is up to you, but like it's iconic. You can't take that away from it. Everyone knows the song, everyone knows Hal what are you doing, Dave? I'm afraid I can't let you do that, Dave. Open the bay doors. There's so many things from it that people know, and so that's why I'm fairly certain that that's like the first one of its kind. But I could be wrong. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, you immediately get vibes from that, and you just know which way this movie is gonna go and how it's gonna do it, and that's the part where it definitely feels inorganic on that sense. It's just like robots doing spoopy shit. Come on.
Yeah.
now what it actually does, that's a whole different thing. If you didn't read the synopsis, I wasn't ready for all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was super goofy. on how that it started going that direction.
Yeah, it kind of, I don't know, it feels weird and kind of pervy in a way. I mean, like there's even points where I can't remember if it's Julie Christie's character or not, but there's one, if not more than one, naked woman on screen for extended periods of time, and there's really no payoff to it.
I had only seen Julie Christie's characters.
I was like half paying attention
for so long
at the beginning of the scene and thought it was a different person at the beginning.
I could be wrong. I was I was in and out sometimes in this movie.
I'm pretty sure you're right, because it would make more. That would make more sense than it just being a random person that never shows up again. Mm-hmm. But regardless, there was no need for it. Like, I know they're like trying to do the whole computer is watching her kind of thing, but like there's no. It was gratuitous in the nudity, and I have no problem with nudity. Obviously, sometimes I like it, but when it feels like someone is being exploited or it's in there just to sell tickets, that's when it's like it's gross.
Yeah,
and this is one of those instances. It's a weird movie. It kind of felt like a David Cronenberg film in a way. I don't know if you're too familiar with him. No. Not as much body horror as he normally has, but like he always like explores the themes of technology and sex, and that's kind of what this felt like. Maybe this is like one of his favorite movies. I don't know.
Who knows?
but it did feel like a David Cronenberg film, and I forgot that Donald Cammell directed it, and then was in my head thinking, oh yeah, this must be one of David Cronenberg's first, and then it's Donald Cammell, and yeah. But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of this movie.
There is one thing that like as soon as the movie kind of started and got into like the characters, what was there it is. Fritz Weaver's character. His character reminded me so much of a movie we just watched, Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll, where his sciencey, he's like, you just don't find me interesting, and just like how the dynamic between Julie Christie and his character was. Mm-hmm. It felt like that immediately. It's just that he felt like the Dr. Jekyll to this whole thing, and then there's a weird comparison, and then of course Proteus is Mr. Hyde in the situation in a weird way. But yeah, it's like immediately watching, like this motherfucker feels like that Dr. Jekyll guy we just watched. Yeah. That's so weird. But yeah, it was such a goofy movie, and most of it just is between Julie Christie and the Proteus robot, and just like this struggle that that she kind of has to. Yeah. Well, not kind of has. She definitely is dealing with throughout the whole thing. It's such a weird point to just make. I mean, it is a book, so. I mean, obviously it was done before. It's not like somebody sat there and it was like, you know what movie people would want to watch? This robot impregnating a woman. Yeah, that's
against her will. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think Julie Christie is probably, for me, the only saving grace of this film.
Yes.
I found this movie, like, it's weird because the movie moved very quickly to the point where there was no suspense whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Because there's just like, this is what's happening. It's happening now. Did you like it? No? Okay, well, this is happening now. We're not building. There is no build up to anything at all. But Julie Christie really kind of lets you live through the situation through her in a way. And is the only reason that this has like any redeeming qualities, in my opinion. It has some pretty cool effects. Mm-hmm. And I gotta commend it for kind of predicting how houses would be in the future. I still stand by the idea that anyone that lets a computer control their doors locks is an idiot. The upcoming Scream movie,
most of their life is just insane.
But door locks especially, because
100%.
Like in the upcoming Scream, it's a little different because you can still unlock them with your hand, but like they can be unlocked by a computer too. that's dumb. But in this, you can't even unlock them with your hand.
Yeah.
It's just by the computer. So
Complete lockdown.
it's dumb. It's dumb. Like,
It's super dumb.
I'm not like afraid of technology or anything, but that is the one thing. Things are so easily hackable. People trust technology too much. My baby, I don't have any Wi-Fi connected baby monitors or Wi-Fi connected baby things at all, because people just like hacking them. There's videos online of people hacking them. People trust technology too much, and technology is a great thing. It's wonderful. It's one of my favorite things, but you got to be dumb to trust it that much, including with locks.
I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm afraid of technology. I am afraid of what's to come eventually. Like it is. I don't have like a fear. I just I'm like, oh well, that's gonna be creepy as shit one day. Like some crap like this is gonna go down where robots are just like. And it always blows my mind when people are like, "Wow, we have to further the progress of robots and stuff like that." Motherfucker, do you watch any of these movies? Do you read any of these books on the robot takeover? Stop! Stop it, you goose!
Yeah.
And the future of this shit and how human life just wants to proceed with AI and robots does kind of give me the chills on what it could be one day.
Yeah, I don't think there should ever be fully artificial intelligence.
No.
I think it's dumb.
And, they're
not all going to be Robin Williams and Bicentennial Man.
Yeah, for real.
They're going to be like iRobot or Terminator or...
It's not going to be good.
It's not going to be good.
Sure.
No bueno.
No bueno.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, Julie Christie was the rock of this movie.
Yeah, she was incredible in this. Like I loved her performance. Very believable.
Absolutely. But really, there's not too much noteworthy of it, other than it being creepy because of futuristics and stuff like that.
The computer's motivation was. It made sense, but it was dumb. Like the whole man is greedy and wants to mine this metal in the ocean for greed. It's the very basic idea, and it kind of dawned on him. That's kind of goes back to the whole there's no building of suspense or anything. We never see the computer learn anything. It just knows things automatically.
Yeah, that's also the thing too, is when it was doing some shit like processing or showing anything on screen, it was just doing weird shapes and figures and stuff like that. It was
like a 90s screensaver.
Yeah, it was abstract painting in sorts of ways, and it like you want to see like ones and zeros and stuff like that, or just even if not that, you just want to see a red dot on a screen or something like that. Like at one point, it even had an eyeball when Proteus introduced himself to Julie Christie's character.
Yeah,
it was just I didn't like the way like the robot's figure was kind of presented, and like what it was supposed to like look like as an entity on screen or something like that. It was very weird for me, at least.
There was one part that like as it was happening, I really enjoyed, and that was when Garrett Graham's character, what's his character's name? Lost the
Walter.
page. Walter. When he came to check on Julie Christie, and kind of sees what's going on, and like the computer starts attacking him. I thought it was a really it was the most interesting part of the movie, other than Julie Christie's performance, obviously. Kind of building up his character. There was a little bit of action. He started being encased by the little orb thing,
up by the giant trapezoid.
And it was like building up to his head being cut off, and then when his head was cut off, it was the most unsatisfying thing ever.
It just literally turned into a mannequin head.
Yeah, very fake looking head that it focused on too much. There was like no blood at all, which, I understand why the blood's probably inside and all that shit. But it's just all that build up. The one time in the movie that there's build up, and the result is so unsatisfying.
Yeah.
It has a lot of cool ideas. I think the movie thinks it's smarter than it is. It definitely feels like someone was writing, oh, this is so smart. And the book might be better. I haven't read the book. I have to check with Papa Hicks to see if he read the book, because he loves Dean Koontz. But it's a very weak movie that,
It's really uplifted by Julie Christie.
It's really uplifted by Julie Christie, but overall boring in the long run. But I don't really have anything else to say about it.
Same here, brother.
Yeah, so that brings us to the judgment for Demon Seed. Will it go on to the KFR shelf with the likes of Handmaiden and Apostle? I switched it up.
Oh, you did?
I switched it up. I did that on accident, but we're going to pretend like it was on purpose. As always, it has to be a unanimous decision whether or not it goes on the shelf. And since we're streaming, I'll go first.
Okay.
I think I said everything that I've had. I can't really add to it. It's just boring. There's no suspense build up at all. They have things happen and then it's solved immediately. And there's no build up to anyone's decisions or anything. It's a very sporadic film. No suspense at all. So I'm going to say no, it does not go on the shelf.
I'm gonna have to side with you, brother. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to do it. I think Julie Christie gets a spot on the shelf. I think she deserves to be hanging up there.
She does deserve to be on the shelf.
Can we talk about how gross that baby was at the end?
It was a very gross baby,
very
and then
gross, and then
had a terrible 80-yard.
I have arrived, or whatever he says. I'm here.
Yeah. Oh, it was
that was
terrible.
such a weird thing.
It
Weird
really
ending.
was.
Weird
Yeah.
movie. And here we are.
Here we are. So, Demon Seed does not make it onto the KFR shelf, but I just want to point, this spooktacular has been a raving success. We had
it was
50%
really good.
of the movies go on the shelf, which, I don't remember what last year's was,
impressive,
but
for sure.
I still feel like that's a pretty good spooktacular. So, I appreciate everyone that joined us on this entire 6-movie adventure, but Demon Seed does not make it on the shelf. That brings us to our plugs for next week. I'm going to throw a wrench in our system here. Glenn, you're going first for plugs.
Hey, that's fine with me. I got a really goofy one. One that I actually showed you very recently. We all know The Matrix is coming up, of course. And honestly, I'm just throwing this in there because I really didn't have anything else. But I think this is funny enough to where anybody else would love it. Now, we all know that Lawrence Fishburne isn't going to be in the next Matrix. And I just found out this wasn't actually... I don't know if this is actually canon, Mike. So I'm sorry I was wrong on that. So... Now, what it means, however, of why Lawrence Fishburne isn't in there, who knows? But
I believe you are correct that it is canon because I remember reading that it was.
Interesting. Well, here's what we've got. The Matrix Online, the classic MMORPG from like 2003 or some bullshit. Literally, the death of Morpheus. And this is a good 1 minute and 50-second clip of our boy Morpheus dying in such a interesting way, of all the ways that Morpheus could have went down. And of course on these PS2 graphics or whatever it was, on a PC probably back in the day, really does justice to Lawrence Fishburne and his great acting and everything like that, and what he made the character to be. So we're going to go on to YouTube, The Matrix Online, Death of Morpheus. Just watch it. It's so goofy. It's a minute and a half of your
It is
time.
really goofy, really bad early 2000s video game animation.
It wasn't us. You have as good a chance of finding out who killed him as we do.
They're lying, Niobe!
We'll see. And we'll see justice done.
Well, what could you do?
What could you do?
That is your plug. Oh, interesting. My plug is going to be I have plugged the podcast overall on this podcast before. A24 has a podcast. But they recently just released an episode. They release an episode like once every 6 months. So if you're not subscribed to them, you should be, because they don't bombard you like this podcast does. But A24 has a podcast. The latest episode that was released on October 27th is Practical Magic with David Lowery and Elijah Wood. David Lowery, many will know as the director of The Green Knight, A Ghost Story, and Pete's Dragon. Elijah Wood, This is Elijah Wood. If you don't know who he is, where have you been?
Where have you been?
But yeah, I listened to this. Honestly, the A20. I love A24. Their podcasts really depends on who's on it for me, because there's times where there's people on it where it's just like they take themselves too seriously, or you know, it really depends. Or I just don't care about their work. But I love David Lowery. I love Elijah Wood. They both are friends. They both have a good time.
That's good.
David Lowery seems like a pretty chill dude and doesn't take himself too seriously. So yeah, he talks about the Green Knight and also tells you where the giant heart that Dev Patel was holding in a behind the scenes picture that wasn't in the movie. He explains what that's from. So
I'm actually interested in that.
Yeah, the A24 podcast, Practical Magic with David Lowery and Elijah Wood, that can be on any podcasting platform.
Hi, I'm Elijah Wood.
And I'm David Lowery.
And we are talking on the A24 podcast.
The A24 podcast, indeed.
Yeah. Hi, David.
It's so great to see you.
It's so good to see you, too.
Forever.
It has been. I feel like it's been... Oh, well, it's over 2 years, because it's certainly pre-pandemic that we saw each other
sometime pre-pandemic, I was out in L.A. and we hung out, but I don't know, time means nothing anymore.
Dude, I know, right?
And those are our plugs for this week. That brings us to our assignment for next week. It is my turn, our first in a long time non-horror film, although this did come up when I was doing a roulette with horror genre for streaming roulette. So, but it's not a horror. At least I don't think. I don't know if it is.
We're going to find out, I guess.
But it is going to be on Netflix, and it is called The Giant. It is, I believe it's Spanish, but from a specific like group of people called Basque people in Spain. I don't know. I'm not going to complain to know the you know, what's the word I'm looking for?
Is it from 2019?
It's 2017.
Oh.
The Giants, but it's based on a true story and a story about the world's tallest man. This is an unsettling Basque language period drama focused on sibling rivalry, directed by Aitor Arregui and John Gariano, and written by Aitor Arregui, John Gariano, and Jose Marie Goegnaga.
You always pick the ones with the...
I do. Well, that's because I like those movies. It is starring Joseba Usabiaga, Eneko Sargadoy, Inigo Aranburu, and Ramon Aguirre. Probably butchered those names.
And the original title for this film is Handia.
Handia, or however it is. But yeah, the trailer, when I watched it, looked really interesting, but I determined... when I was trying to pick a horror movie that it was not horror enough. I don't know if there's going to be any horror elements in it, but it's based on a true story, so I don't think there will be. Who knows? We'll see.
Who knows? We'll find out for sure.
Eta nik ezin dio baserri honen ardura hartu, baina negozioen ardura bai. Oso Antonio Artzarondek espektakuloak antolatzen dizkik.
Hor kanpoan zure leyenda da, gauza hau pasatzen. Zu baino baindikan azkarro azten gai dara. Su Majestad, si a su Alteza le gustara nuestro espectáculo, nos abriría las puertas de viajar al extranjero y así.
Es retrasado.
But that is our pick for next week, The Giant on Netflix. Thank you, everyone, for listening. As always, you can check out our website at www.keystonefilmreview.com. On Instagram, we are Keystone_film_review, Twitter, Keystone_film, Facebook, Keystone Film Review, YouTube, Keystone Film Review, TikTok, Keystone Film Review, and on Letterboxd, I am Mike KFR.
And I am Glenn KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we talk about a big boy.
Ooh, a really big boy.
Yeah, his name is Miguel Joaquin. Oh, God, why did I start trying to pronounce this? Elisegui. Yes.
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 Good
Goodbye,
morrow,
everybody.
my good friends. We shall see you. Goodbye.
Hail and well met.